How far would someone go for $2.3 million? Would they betray, deceive, or even kill? For Ethan Davis, the answer was clear. He would do anything for money, even if it meant sacrificing everything else. After marrying a woman nearly 40 years his senior, he wasn't seeking love. He was waiting for the day he could cash in on his trophy. Welcome to Crime Zone 247, where we uncover the most shocking and twisted real-life cases. If you love gripping true crime stories that leave you speechless, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this case will have you questioning everything you know about trust, love, and betrayal. Vanessa Wyatt believed she had found a second chance at love. At 65, after years of solitude, she was captivated by her charming husband Ethan, who seemed to see her in a way no one else had. What she didn't realize was that to him, she was just a means to an end, a wealthy widow whose financial assets he could exploit. Ignoring all the warnings from her family and friends, Vanessa made Ethan the sole beneficiary of her whopping $2.3 million life insurance policy. On what was meant to be the honeymoon of her dreams, tragedy struck. Vanessa had finally allowed herself to believe in love again, only to be betrayed by the very man she trusted most. Ultimately, she paid the ultimate price. For 2 decades, Vanessa had lived without the warmth of love, her heart echoing with memories of a life once filled with joy and laughter. With her children grown and busy with their own families, she had learned to cope with her loneliness. Whenever her daughter, Clara, noticed her mother gazing out of the window or getting lost in old romantic films, she offered to set up a social media account for her. At first, Vanessa resisted, but soon enough, she found herself reconnecting with long-lost friends and entering a world filled with new possibilities. That was when she met Ethan Davis, a 28-year-old man whose smile could charm the stars. He slipped into her online life, complimenting her beauty and insisting that age was just a number. At first, Vanessa thought it was a prank. Why would a man like him be interested in her? But with each message, he built her up, feeding her self-worth and filling the void of loneliness she had felt for years. Soon, their conversations turned into long phone calls that lasted into the night. Ethan's sweet words enveloped her like a warm blanket, and for the first time in decades, Vanessa felt cherished again. Ignoring her children's concerns, especially Clara's who pleaded for her to reconsider, she convinced herself that this was love. "I want to marry you," Ethan proclaimed one evening. Vanessa's heart raced, but prior to their quick courthouse wedding, he urged her to update her life insurance policy. "Just in case something happens," he said casually. Blinded by love and her longing for companionship, Vanessa complied without thinking twice, locking Ethan into a role that would change both of their lives forever. After their impromptu wedding, Ethan wasted no time planning their honeymoon. He pushed her to hurry, insisting that they wouldn't waste another moment. They set off for a luxurious retreat near the ocean intended to be a fairy tale vacation, but lurking beneath was a sinister reality. As they strolled hand in hand along the beach, the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with brilliant hues. "This is paradise," Vanessa said, smiling brightly, unaware of Ethan's cold demeanor just beneath the surface. In an instant, he seized the opportunity he had awaited so intently. With one brutal push, he sent her tumbling into the crashing waves. Her screams were swallowed by the ocean, the life draining from her body as she fought desperately to stay afloat. Ethan stood frozen, watching her struggle, not lifting a finger to help. This was part of the plan, and he would not falter now. Once her cries faded into silence, he made a chilling call, Not to emergency services, but to his accomplice, Sophie, his true love. "It's done," he said, a smirk creeping across his face as he reported his foul deed. However, this time, someone was indeed watching. Detective Olivia Reed, Sophie's sister, had been investigating Ethan for years. After losing her own mother in a suspicious drowning years earlier, she had noticed a distressing pattern in her sister's past relationships. With Vanessa's sudden death in the news, Olivia felt the horrifying realization wash over her. Ethan was back on the hunt. Driven by a desire for justice, she approached Vanessa's children. "I believe your mother was murdered," she said firmly, delivering the gut-wrenching blow. They had felt uneasy about Ethan from the start, but had no power to intervene as their mother pursued her happiness. Sadly, now it was too late. They began working with Detective Reed to piece together evidence against him. With new resolve, they pushed the authorities for a thorough investigation into Vanessa's death. Digging deeper into Ethan's life, investigators found the chilling similarities between his marriages. Both of his previous wives had collected insurance payouts. Both had drowned under curious circumstances. There was a pattern, and it was Ethan Davis's hubris that would lead to his downfall. As investigators delved into Ethan's past, they discovered a web of deceit woven tightly around his actions. Financial records were reviewed, phone logs examined, and finally they found Sophie, Ethan's confidant who had been there for every step of his sinister journey. Initially, Sophie played coy, acting as if she had no knowledge of his true intentions, but the truth began to emerge with every question posed and every piece of evidence laid bare before her. Detective Reed pressed hard, exposing phone records that revealed Ethan's call to her just moments after Vanessa disappeared into the ocean. His calm demeanor during that call spoke volumes. He was celebrating, not mourning. This moment of clarity compelled Sophie to reconsider her loyalty to Ethan. Reluctantly, she agreed to cooperate with the investigation, revealing the extent of their partnership and showing how she had assisted him in choosing vulnerable targets, older women who craved love and companionship. Equipped with Sophie's confession and the mounting evidence, police prepared for the arrest. Ethan had always been cautious, playing the role of the grieving husband perfectly, but this time he had underestimated both the determination of Detective Reed and Vanessa's family. They had pulled the threads of his treachery tight, and now they were ready to reel him in. Ethan was apprehended in the lavish apartment he had rented with Vanessa's insurance money, living proof of his betrayal. When police confronted him, he maintained his innocence, insisting that Vanessa had been an accident, a mere slip into the waves. But Detective Reed had him cornered. She methodically laid out the trail of victims, financial motives, and the damning call to Sophie right after the murder. In court, the atmosphere was electric. The gallery was packed with interested onlookers, many of whom were there out of morbid curiosity, eager to see the man who had so callously taken lives for profit. Ethan walked in, armed with a confident smirk, but the facade crumbled as he and Sophie faced the evidence laid before them. The prosecution hit hard, revealing Ethan's history and calculated methods of seduction, presenting testimonies from those who had loved Vanessa and painting a vivid picture of a calculated predator. Sophie, once loyal, took the stand and confirmed everything: Ethan's manipulation, the life insurance policies, and the plan they executed like clockwork. As Olivia Reed testified, she leveled her gaze at Ethan. "You preyed on the vulnerable. You showed no remorse after taking their lives for cold, hard cash. Vanessa's death was no accident. It was murder, and we will prove it." The jury deliberated for just over an hour, the evidence undeniable. When they returned with a verdict, it was terse and final: guilty. A wave of relief swept through Vanessa's family, though heavy tears fell down their faces, knowing that even justice could not revive their beloved mother. As the judge condemned Ethan Davis to life in prison without the possibility of parole, he sat in silence, a mask of defeat. But next to him, Sophie still bore a semblance of a smirk, defiantly clinging to their twisted bond. "I'll stick by you," her eyes seemed to say, even as the gavel of justice fell hard against them. Sophie's sentence was significantly less severe, 45 years, but the real punishment was the solitude that awaited them both. Separated from the riches and luxury they had reveled in, they now faced the consequences of their greed. In the fiscal years that followed, Detective Olivia Reed worked tirelessly to raise awareness of the dangers of predatory behavior in romantic relationships, using Vanessa's story as a cautionary tale. Her mission was to ensure that others might not suffer the same fate. A reminder that when vulnerable hearts seek connections, predators like Ethan are waiting in the shadows, ready to pounce. As the years passed, Olivia's dedication led to new policies aimed at protecting potential victims, changing how authorities approached cases of sudden death in vulnerable populations. Vanessa Wyatt's life ended, but her story sparked a movement. In the end, the love that had promised so much had turned into despair, highlighting the dark reality that behind the most charming smiles could lie the heart of a killer. How many other women had seen their fairy tales transform into nightmares? While the world mourned Vanessa, it also learned and sought justice. The final question hung in the air: were these relationships a heartfelt connection, or had love become a mere illusion manipulated by selfish desires? Now, with every story shared, with every conversation ignited, the hope was that fewer would fall into the trap of deceit. Would you have seen the signs? Let us know your thoughts, and remember, sometimes the sweetest words can hide the darkest intentions. This case highlighted the importance of vigilance, raising awareness about the dangers that can lurk behind seemingly genuine connections. As always, Crime Zone 247 continues to shed light on the dark corners of humanity, illuminating stories that not only intrigue, but also educate about the lengths at which some will go for greed and the cost it can inflict on innocent lives. Join us next time as we dive into more gripping true crime stories that challenge our perceptions of love, trust, and the human psyche. If you found this story shocking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a case. We'll see you in the next one.